Ratchet!
Does the terrible movie have any bearing over how good the game was, and vice versa?
It's the game based on the movie.
Based on the game. Right.
So the movie was based on the game.
The movie was terrible, the game was great. Is there a correlation?
Maybe.
Stop, correlate, and listen.
Classics!
There's some games that just don't get old.
There are.
For some reason, I thought you were going to start talking about music.
I almost said basic. I don't know why.
Basics.
But anyway, all that and more in this episode of Why
Chat Play.
What's up, guys? My name is Cameron.
And I'm Devin.
And you've found Watch Chat Play. We're awesome. You should stick around and watch us.
You should watch the whole thing.
Yeah, it's only be a few minutes. But today, we are going to discuss something that I feel kind of passionate about. Ratchet and Clank.
Which one? Which version? Which medium?
I like the video games. And
I would argue that most people like the video games.
But
I
want to give the movie a chance.
Have you seen it yet?
No, because I can't afford to go to the movies. I can't, and you can't illegally download stuff. That's not right.
I mean, you can.
That's not right. But
Jules, grab a towel. There's just so much water on the table. No, we can keep going. I just while we're doing this, I would just also like a towel.
Does how bad the movie is getting reviewed have any effect on the game and vice versa?
I don't think so.
Because the game was so well regarded.
Right.
This remake was fantastic. Does you holding that in the back of your mind when you go and see this movie have anything holding against the movie? If that makes any sense.
I think the opposite can be true. Because, like, we were at work the other day, remember? And there was a copy of Superman on the wall. Mm-hmm. And Superman Returns is not a great game. Based off of not a great movie. Mm-hmm. But my whole reasoning for... Thank you, Jules. My whole reasoning for putting that on the wall was because people want to experience the stuff that they're kind of watching.
Yeah.
So you come out of a movie and you kind of want to play, you know...
You want to watch it, you want to talk about it,
you want to watch it, you want to chat, you want to play about
it. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. But, that's why movie tie-ins are so popular, because people know that, except movie tie-ins are terrible. Like, Batman Begins, I remember buying that game and going, what is this garbage?
E.T.?
Yeah, E.T., Atari style, head up, you can fly. I don't know. I think the opposite is true. I think if I watch a movie, like, for instance, I watched the new Spider-Man a while ago, and I wanted to go home and I wanted to play Spider-Man, so I went and I picked up Amazing Spider-Man 2 for PlayStation 4. Yep. It's not the greatest game. It tried to do something Batman Arkham Origins, Night City, Asylum did, and it just doesn't have the same... It just doesn't have that thing that Batman Arkham does.
Ooh, Side note. There's a rumor. Sucker Punch.
Yes.
The Sony first-party studio that made Infamous.
Infamous Second Son, and the other ones. All of them, right? All Infamous.
All the Infamous.
Yes.
And there's a rumor going around that... they are going to make a Spider-Man game.
Really?
You know how fantastic that would be?
I'd be alright with that.
That'd be so cool.
Because I was hoping Rocksteady would really make anything. But I'd be alright with Sucker Punch doing it.
Yeah, Infamous are great games. Sucker Punch knows what they're doing with those superhero
games. Yeah, no, they're really good.
That mobility. Good stuff.
Thank you, Jules.
Anyway, so even though you're sitting at home playing this awesome game, and you told me earlier with the cutscene, like you watch a cutscene, you know, with Quark and Ratchet and Clank and all the characters that are awesome, and then you hop back into play as soon as that cutscene's over.
Right.
Well, the movie, it's just big one long cutscene.
Right, so. But I talked to a guy who came in and he was telling me that he bought Ratchet and Clank day one. He was, you know, really excited about it, and then he went to watch the movie, and I guess there were only like 5 people in the theater. But he said that there was a point where he was watching the movie, and it was like one long cutscene that he was waiting to get it transferred back so he could play the game. And it never happened, and then it was kind of frustrating. And I guess we all know who Ratchet and Clank are if you're a fan of the series. In the movie, they have to set it up like you don't, so they have to have them meet each other and stuff like that.
So would the movie be better if you were coming into it fresh?
I don't think so. I think if you're going to make a niche game like Ratchet and Clank, you know your audience.
That's true.
You don't need to set it up. There's only a select group that are going to go watch that movie. You're not introducing a whole new generation to Ratchet and Clank. You're just not. Like, know your product.
I'm curious to see. Maybe we'll come back to this at a future date. I want to take, like, Jules to see Ratchet and Clank and see if because she doesn't know what Ratchet and Clank is. I mean, she's watched me play the game, but other than that,
Jules, you've never played Ratchet and Clank. That's a big. She's shaking her head. No, she's doing this. She's got a smirk on her face.
So I'm curious to see if she'll enjoy the movie. I mean, it's worth a shot.
I mean, like,
so
maybe
comment if you think I should do it for sure.
Yeah, she's probably gonna hate it. She hates everything.
So, anyway, on the topic of things like old games that are becoming new again, when you think of a game that you used to play in your childhood, can you think of any game that you would want to pick up and play now? You got nothing? Nothing at all?
There's only one game that I would consider, and I don't even want it to be a remake. I want them to do a sequel.
It doesn't even have to be a remake. Just going back to the original console even. And just picking it up and playing through it again.
I would never.
Never? For real?
I would never.
Oh my gosh.
So not that guy. I am a current generation console gamer. That's who I am.
Oh, that's crazy.
When I was young, I had the regular Nintendo and I loved it. And then I had my Sega Genesis and I loved it. And then I had my PlayStation and I loved it. And then I had my PlayStation 2, 3, and I'm on my 4. I love my current generation consoles. I am not a nostalgist in the sense that I don't look back with rose-colored lenses and think like, oh, these games were so great. I think that they're great for their time.
But I nostalgia like that gets me. Like, if I go back and play Symphony of the Night right now, I'm still going to be like, oh my god, this game is perfect. Because the graphics hold up, and it doesn't look like crap. Like, if you went back and tried to play, like, I don't know, like an NBA 2008 or something, it would just look like
just garbage pixels, yeah.
It would be it'd be trash. It'd be hot pile street trash. But if you go back and play a 2D Castlevania game, or even Super Metroid on the SNES, it's like, those games are great. They're hard.
I don't know, like great. When we got Super Mario Maker,
yeah,
they have a lot of the old school like Mario styles that I grew up playing. Those are fun for me to play just because I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. But it's updated. The response time is better. The coding is all perfect, so it's my response time is exactly what it needs to be for those games, and I love that it's an updated version. But I don't ever. Short of like one game that I'll probably talk about shortly, I just don't really ever want to go back to like my old systems at all.
That's crazy.
Like there's a buddy of mine that posted this video of they're making some device where it's like a Super Nintendo controller that you hook your phone into it and you can stream. It's like an emulator pretty much. But you have your SNES controls and you can play games on your phone. So it clips to the top of it. You have a controller beneath it. So it's like a mobile SNES system that you can take with you. That's kind of rad, but I don't know, man. Like, I love all my current generation games that I have right now. Like, I love everything that I have.
You're telling me, if I were to take you to an arcade right now, like an old school arcade, had Donkey Kong, stuff like that, there wouldn't be a game you would be like, oh, I have to go play that. Slide a quarter in and be like, yes.
So I've done it twice. There is an arcade bar in Chicago, and there's one in Columbus called 8-Bit Bar, which they were influenced by the one in Chicago. So my wife, my best friend, my wife, his fiance at the time, and then Danny, we all went to Chicago, and then one of the things that we wanted to do was go to this retro bar. So we went there, and it was wall to wall stand up arcades. It was really really cool.
That's awesome.
And it was they were free to play. You had to pay to drink.
You just bought a drink and got to play.
And that was it. It was unlimited as much as you wanted to. It didn't really matter.
Did people hog like the good games though?
Sort of. I mean, there was a lot of that. It was relatively dead, and it was a sausage fest because that's how that works. But it was really cool for like a half hour to an hour, and then I kind of got burnt out on it. For my best friend's bachelor party, there was a really big kind of the same thing where it was wall to wall stand up arcades. And it was really fun for like a while, and then you just kind of get bored. There's only so many times you can play the original Simpsons or the Ninja Turtles arcade game.
There was a laser tag place that used to be over in the shopping center near us.
Yeah. I
would go every single weekend, and there was a game, I think it was called Carnival of Horrors. There was like a light gun thing. Yeah. I played that every single weekend, and I'd sit there until I beat it, and then I'd go back home every single weekend.
I think House of the Dead 2, same thing.
They remade that on the Wii, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
But I don't know. Like, it was really good for its time. And I remember being that age and having a blast with it. But, like, now that I'm matured, like, I have different requirements as a gamer. Like, because I'm an adult gamer now. So I like that gaming has kind of aged with me, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Which is one of the reasons why I respect Witcher Wild Hunt so much and the team at CD Projekt just because it's a very mature-driven content. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very well-produced game, and they have all these different elements that respond to me as an adult. You know, a guy doing his thing and like the love triangles, and he's trying to, you want to make it a living, but you want to do your thing. Like, those are all relevant topics to me. And then his kind of kinship with Siri and like the paternity thing responds more to me because I'm a father.
I mean, I could give you a few dating sims that are along the same
I
lines.
I don't want to dating sim. I just responded to the realistic qualities of that stuff. That's what I liked about it. But I just playing
Notice me, senpai.
Playing the original Ninja Turtles on regular Nintendo, I hated it. Like when I played it recently, because it's just the coding is so bad.
Well, that's not a good one to go back to. Like if you went back and played like Gauntlet is great. Like on the Lego Dimensions, the Midway arcade one.
Yeah.
I played Gauntlet for like an hour straight. It's so much fun.
There's only one game that I wish I was going to tell you about earlier that they would make like an updated version of it, and I would want them to make like a sequel, like 20 years in however long it's been since they made it.
Battletoads.
No, because they kind of did that. The Legend of Dragoon. I love that
Yes!
game. I love everything
wow.
about that game. I remember one summer where a buddy of mine had it, and he lent it to me because I was just then figuring out what like RPGs were.
Oh, yeah.
And so he lent me Legend of Dragoon, and I fell in love with that game. Like that's one of the games that I will never... I have like the fondest memories of playing that game that one summer.
It's good stuff.
And I wouldn't want them to reboot it or remake it. I would want them to continue the story with like Dart's like great grandson, and then he becomes a teenager, and he's learning about his father's or great grandfather's like dragon armor and like what it all means, and then obviously something happens, everybody dies, and then it's just him in the armor, and he has to go and do his own story. I would love that just because that would take a really cool memory that I had, but then update it in a way that's more practical to my life.
I think we need to figure out who made that and start sending some emails.
Just every day emails like that.
We need a sequel.
You talk about something. I'm gonna go figure it out.
Okay,
work on this right now.
Things that you want to go back and experience again. When you think of something that gives you great, fond memories, I think of the first time I watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
In theaters?
In theaters. Day it came out. I was so stoked. I had no idea what it was. I knew it was video game related. I'm like, Michael Cera. It can't be that bad.
Whatevs.
And I left that theater feeling so good about my life that I was on like cloud 9 times 1,000.
Was it critically reviewed well? Like received well?
I don't know. I honestly have not read any reviews on it. I know I loved it. I have it on every form of everything that exists. Got digitally, Blu-ray. I'm like, it's all mine. I was looking for a PSP UMD, so if anyone knows where I can get a UMD of Scott Pilgrim, let me know.
Scott Pilgrim was the first Blu-ray disc I ever owned.
That's awesome. Mine was Spider-Man because it came with my PS3.
Nice. I remember seeing it in theaters and thinking like, holy crap, this game was built for me. Like that one, and then Hot Rod, and then Anchorman were like the 3 movies that like I feel like they made those with me in mind, and I've never not appreciated Adam McKay or like Akiva and like the team from Lonely Island for making those amazing movies. But I remember watching Scott Pilgrim. I'm like, holy crap! Like they've nailed so many different aspects. And then I'll look in a second.
Can you do a thingy on that rail?
There are girls watching.
The L word, lesbian. No, the other L word, lesbian.
God, so good.
Developer Sony Interactive Entertainment, designer or publisher Sony. So it's Sony Interactive game?
Oh, it's a first party game. We're gonna have to. Hey, Shuhei, I know you're watching.
Get it done. I know you watch this. You are one of the 12. You are one of our disciples.
Everyone at YoSP on Twitter say a remake or make a sequel to Legend of Dragoon.
Do not say remake. I don't want to play it again. I've already played it. If you haven't played it, well, that's your fault.
Yeah,
but
sequel to
make
Legend of Dragoon.
A sequel to Legend of
Make a standalone that if you played the original Legend of Dragoon, you'll get the references it makes.
Right.
But make it a standalone game that's in the world of Legend of
The
Dragoon.
Chronicles of Dragoon. So you can make an HD remake for the people that need to play it, but then give me the second one and then the third one. That's what I want.
Legend of Legia? Or however you say that word?
Legia?
Legia.
It's for really tall women?
Yes, that's it. That was another game that I rented it from Bag and Save. That shows how old I am.
Holy crap.
And I freaking loved it, but I never got a chance to beat it because it was a ridiculously long game and I only had like a weekend to play it or whatever. But it was really cool. And then another Secret of Mana was another good one. God, those old RPGs are great. That'd be great to go back and play them.
Was renting movies a big part of your childhood?
Oh yeah,
It's a huge part of mine.
yeah. Well, when Blockbuster dated again, they had this rental service where for a summer you could pay a flat rate and rent out a game, take it back and swap it out just constantly.
Nice.
So I would do that every day. I'd take a game home, play it for a little while, run it back down, I'd hop on my bike, ride back down, swap it out, and that was my every day. Video games. I love video games.
There was a point where it was like kind of a combination. It was like a tanning salon / like trading card depot / like movie rental place. And I remember when I found out that we could rent a Nintendo 64 for $30, and I almost had a panic attack because it had just come out and like nobody had one and they were super expensive. And like you could rent Nintendo 64 and then it came with Super Mario 64.
That game.
So like little 13-year-old Devin's just flipping out, and like my older brother Sean's like, "What are you doing, man? Stop! It's not that big of a deal. Like, do we have $30? Do we have $30? We have $64." But I mean, from a very young age, like I've fully embraced my nerdism, and just nobody understood me.
That's great.
So passionate.
So
but yeah, I used to renting Sega Genesis games on the regular basis. That was like my whole thing. That was my life.
I'd go hang out with my dad, and we'd head over to the video game swap shop. And, well, that place got shut down for selling drugs, but...
Well, I mean, you'll have that.
You know. I would rent almost the same game every time. I would take out Quest 64, try to beat that stupid game, could not do it.
Nice.
And then I'd try again the next weekend. I hated the game, but I was so determined to beat it, I could never figure out how to play it. But...
I remember checking out a game called Fart Man. It's a pick and flick adventure. And so picture this little troll guy, and he's got a little cape. And then his attacks were he would pick his nose and flick it at people.
I remember this game!
And then he would eat chili and then fart fire, and then he would fly around.
As soon as you started describing it, I just didn't remember Fart Man.
Yeah, it was the weirdest knockoff garbage game, but I remember I would call around to ask people to check to see if they had this game in stock, and then I would always giggle as I tried to...
You got that Fart Man?
Yeah, it's a pick and flick adventure, and then you hear the lady on the phone who's just over it at this point, like, yes...
Y'all got that Battle
You're the only one that checks out this game. It'll be here. It'll never not be here unless you have it. Just take it home.
Speaking of awesome games, do you remember... You had a Genesis, right? I'm pretty sure it was a Genesis game. Did you play Vector Man? You were little green balls, and like he would turn into like tanks and stuff, and he like... The physics of him was... It was really neat. If you get a chance, look up Vector Man. Huh. I'm sure someone out there remembers Vector Man.
Weird.
It was fun. I would go over to... my aunt's house, and they had a Sega, and I'd jam out Vector Man. Yep. Sega.
That always, anytime I hear Sega, I just think of Sonic. I equate that theme song with Sonic, because that's how I always played Sonic.
I mean, that's the only way to play Sonic.
That's the only way to play Sonic on Sega.
It's like when someone comes in and is like, you got Mario and not on the Xbox? No, Mario.
And it's not their fault for being wrong, it's just their parents. I know it hurts on like a fundamental level. Like they're looking at the 360 section. They're like, "Yeah, I'm looking for Legend of Zelda." My kid's really excited about it. I'm like, "Yeah."
You can buy a Wii.
You can buy a Wii if you want.
I mean, you could buy a Wii U and get that Zelda. Zelda Wii U. That's sad.
What's sad?
Zelda Wii U. It's going to the NX too.
Well, it's going on both though. At least we both get it. I still get it on the Wii U. I don't know.
It'd be really cool if they. We're
good reference, Dave Chappelle.
We're on the Wii U. If we get Zelda on the Wii U, like the people that own a Wii U pick up Zelda, they get something really cool that the NX people do not get.
That's not gonna happen.
Like, you know, the loyal Nintendo customers that buy every Nintendo console, myself, picks up on the Wii U, which is a failure. I mean,
no two ways about it.
Gets Zelda Wii U. They should get something awesome.
Yeah, the NX.
I don't want to buy a new console. I bought the Wii U to play Zelda. I have Zelda tattoos. I'm a Zelda fan.
Nintendo doesn't care what you want. Let's get that perfectly clear.
Nintendo does care what you want.
If that was true, the Wii U would be more heavily supported and we'd have a Legend of Zelda.
They tried.
They did not try.
It's the third-party developer's fault. They
do
suck
or
at
do not,
games.
there is no try.
Well, they tried with the Vita.
No, they did not try with the Vita.
I'm sorry to try with the Vita. Do you just agree with me that Nintendo made the Vita?
No. You're saying they tried with the Vita, so they did not try with the Vita.
They tried with the Vita. They have a lot of great... Golden Abyss was fantastic. Freedom Wars, fantastic. Soul Sacrifice was pretty good. It was a nice attempt at like a Monster Hunter. Oh my god. Anyway, don't you have that analog addiction thing that you gotta do?
You know what? I don't even want to do it now. No, okay. Speaking of, if you've been watching for the last couple of weeks, we've been doing a lot of stuff for analogaddiction.org. So they've been writing reviews and news, and there's a whole bunch of news that happened today, actually.
Yeah.
And what we've been doing is this segment called Analog Assemble, which is where I kind of wrap it all up. So we're going to go ahead and show you that Analog Assemble package for the week, and then we'll be right back to close it out. What's up, guys? Devin here for Analog Assemble. We got a lot of stuff to cover. There's a lot of reviews to do, and then a lot of really big news, so let's get right to it. First, Robbie Key had the pleasure of taking the HD remake of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for a spin, and he said, "It was a better experience than I remembered it being during my playthrough of its original release nearly 10 years ago. Its texture upgrades and 1080p resolution output look great on a high-definition display. But it might not be enough to entice second-time players to spend another $50 on that same game. On the other hand, those who have never played Twilight Princess will certainly not be disappointed." Robbie gave that game 8.5 out of 10, which I've been playing it recently, and it does look fantastic, especially if you're using a Pro controller. Next, Jamie Briggs spent some time with Alien Nation and said it improved on the already polished twin-stick shooter elements of Dead Nation, while capturing the same chaotic and colorful visuals display that Resogun offered. All the while offering an addictive loot system that encourages players to push themselves to the limit in order to find the best loot possible. And even if they don't, Alien Nation makes each item feel valuable, and it can be used to upgrade your already powerful weapons. It is an addictive system that I will continue to explore long after the review is complete, which is cool. So anytime a reviewer actually takes a game home and then wants to keep on playing it, that's an awesome thing, obviously. He also went on to say that unfortunately, local co-op options have been omitted, alongside a generic and forgettable Alien storyline, which do provide a few blemishes in an otherwise impressive package. But saying all that stuff, Jamie gave Alien Nation a 9 out of 10, which is pretty astounding as far as our reviews are concerned. So that might be one to look at coming soon. Last on the review table, Shadow Complex. Eric Pepper said that any gamer who enjoys action platformers and has yet to play Shadow Complex needs to pick up the Shadow Complex Remastered, since it stands out within the genre as one of the best. If you were never told about the original release, you would likely never suspect that the title was not developed within the last calendar year. And Eric gave that game an 8.7 out of 10, which again, is a really, really good review score day for us. So, last up, some pretty stellar announcements. First, we'll go with the one that happened first, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, I know a lot of people saw the trailer, and there's a lot of critique on the internet about it because it's all space age and stuff like that. But the article I read earlier today kind of said that they're trying to give you both. They're going to give you the advanced space age techie stuff for the people that love that, but they're also going to give you the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare as well. It's going to cost $80 to get it, but that way all your space age guys are covered and your old school boots on the ground gamers are covered. There's a lot of kind of conversation right now about whether or not that was the right decision, but that's what you got, Call of Duty gamers. Whether or not you're into it, I mean, that's really up to you if you want to pull the trigger on an $80 set of games or not. And then next, this actually happened earlier today. Battlefield has released their new title. It's called Battlefield 1, which is confusing to almost everybody because it should be Battlefield 5, but they are taking the franchise all the way back to, it seems, the World War style of gameplay. No tech, no lasers, no space, no nothing. So for those of you who are looking for an old school feel in a Battlefield franchise, which I'm a Battlefield guy, that might be one to watch out for. And they're centering on a group of fighters from Harlem and seeing their journey as they go abroad and fight the war. So pretty cool. So that's it for Analog Assemble. If you haven't already, check out analogaddiction.org. And for us here at Watch Chat Play, my name's Devin. Thanks. Well, that's our show. Thank you for joining us. So, obviously...
You scared me.
Oh, sorry. If you haven't already, if you don't like what we're doing, I get that. I'm not going to hold that against you. But if we're
pretty stupid.
Do the little thumbs up. It's up there. We have a lot of thumbs up. We don't have any thumbs downs. And we actually had a commenter that disagreed with our with us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Did you see that?
I have no way to check it because I don't have a freaking computer.
Oh, well, if you go on your you can look on your phone. You have a smartphone.
Oh, that's true. I could sign in.
Yeah, but it was cool because he disagreed, but in like a mature way.
That is the greatest way to disagree.
He just really pointed out the fact that he just didn't think that there was any way that like Nintendo and Sony would ever kind of merge, and like argued his case, but he wasn't like a douche about it,
That's great.
Which we need more people like you. But I responded to it. We were both really amicable about it, so it was really good. So that was nice. So,
Wait.
We want your feedback, comments. If you have something that you disagree with, that's fine. Bring it.
Did you just say the internet was civil?
It confused me.
I think...
Like, I had to put my socks on because I thought hell was freezing over. It was very, very brisk.
I think I have to leave.
But we do watch that. We do. I monitor for comments and stuff like that. So just know that if you leave a comment, it's not going to go unread. Or if you send us a message on Facebook, we're not going to ignore you.
And I'm out of computer right now. So if you want to actually directly comment me and make fun of me for anything,
which you're welcome.
Your easiest way is probably Twitter.
Props,
because that app usually notifies me when I get stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then in addition to us, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, subscribe, wherever else. Mm-hmm. The Watch, Chat, Play, PSN community, which we've been doing a lot of streaming recently, which our internet is not great.
Oh man,
so
sucks.
It's just hard for us to do streaming, to give you good quality streaming.
We can't stream like online stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing we want to. So the Let's Plays are easier because we can just share that through the PlayStation 4, and it's a lot better quality. But when we stream it, it's awesome because it's live. But then the video quality is garbage, which I hate because I have this HD camera and we're doing pretty good for quality output. But I don't know. So we're working on that. That's a whole other conversation that we're going to have. But and also for analogaddiction.org, check them out. They have a whole bunch of reviews up right now. And there's a lot of news that I just covered for Analog Assemble. But, check them out.
Website.
It's a cool website. They're all based out of Australia. And they're really good guys. Jamie, Eric, Nathan, the whole team, Hope and Rebecca. Like, they're all awesome, awesome people. So
maybe they'll take us over to Australia.
Maybe they will. I do want to go there at some point.
I would be so down for that.
Yeah, so next week we're actually gonna I'm gonna do a video series from a retro fest that's going on up north.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing that. So next week you'll be gone.
Yeah, I got a wedding.
Okay, so next week will be a little bit different where there won't be like a conventional Watch Chat Play episode, but I will have a lot of packages and stories and stuff from that retro event. So if you're going to that, I'll see you there. Hopefully you won't mind me talking to you because what I've learned is people do not like being on camera during an interview.
Oh my gosh, no.
Weird, right?
There was someone at work today that freaked out for getting their picture taken. Like, she started crying and stuff. It was nuts.
Yeah, there's one lady I was trying to talk to. She just wasn't having face turned red. She's freaking out. I'm like, dude, it's just a conversation. Not a big deal.
I was like that at first.
Yeah.
He had to smack me around a little bit.
Get it done.
Yeah, he's good at that.
But anyway, my name is Devin.
I'm Cameron.
And we'll see you next week.
Later, guys.